Serial versus parallel, simplex versus duplex. Students lose easy marks in the exams, usually because they forget which direction the data is traveling or how many bits they're sending at once. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how each method works and how you can apply that into exam questions. I'm Rob from Save My Exams. Let's jump straight in. So what does data transmission actually mean? Well, data transmission is just data moving from one device to another. The rest of this video is just about how that happens, in which direction does the data travel, and how much data can travel at the same time. Okay, let's start with serial transmission. Serial means one bit at a time, in sequence, in one direction, which basically means think of a one-lane road. The data is always going in order, one at a time. USB is a really good example of serial transmission. Okay, so what are some advantages of serial transmission? Well, it's cheap to set up, it doesn't suffer from interference, and it's generally pretty reliable. That's why it's been around so long. But the trade-off, and it's a big trade-off, speed. One bit at a time is just naturally slower than sending multiple bits at the same time. Okay, so what about parallel transmission then? How's that different? Well, parallel transmission can send several bits of data at the same time on their own wire. Think of it like multiple lanes on a highway. Old printer cables used to use this method because it's really fast. Okay, so let's look at some advantages and disadvantages of parallel transmission. Now, parallel transmission is fast. It is really good. The problem with parallel transmission is that it was only good over a short distance. The signals could drift out of sync, which is called a skew. And the more wires you add, the more likely this was to happen. So here's a quick breakdown of where we're at so far. So serial transmission is cheap, it's great over long distance, and it's really reliable. Parallel is fast, it's not good over long distance, and it's prone to interference and skew. Exam questions love this contrast. But what about simplex and duplex and half duplex? How does that all get into this mix? Okay, let's have a look at simplex. Simplex transmission just means the data can only be sent in one direction. So just like your computer sends a signal to the monitor to display your output, that's a really classic example of a simplex transmission. Half duplex means data can travel both directions, but not at the same time. A good example of a half duplex transmission is perhaps your computer sends a signal along a cable to your printer to print something, and then coming back in the opposite direction along that same cable after it's completed the job, you get the message to say the print is complete. That's a really good example of half duplex. And yet, if you are following this, you've got this already, haven't you? Full duplex means both directions at the same time. You can send and receive simultaneously. Exactly what your network is doing all the time so that you can send and receive data. These three key terms tell you the direction of the data flow. One way, both ways but not at the same time, and both ways at the same time. Try and keep that locked in because exam questions love to combine this with serial and parallel. Right, so this is where it gets a little bit more tricky because you can mix any transmission method with a direction mode. Serial simplex sends one bit of data at a time in one direction. Serial half duplex sends one bit at a time, but the direction changes. Serial full duplex uses two separate wires, so both directions can be used at the same time. Parallel simplex sends multiple bits, but still only in one direction. Parallel half duplex can send multiple bits both ways, but not at the same time. And finally, parallel full duplex can send multiple bits at the same time in both directions simultaneously. Okay, so let's have a look at an exam question. A company stores its website on a web server, and it uses parallel half duplex to transmit new video data to the server. Explain why this transmission method is appropriate. 4 marks. So the first quick and easy mark you should be getting is parallel transmission is fast. Now there was a clue in the question, and that word was video data. So by video data, we're going to assume that's large quantities of data. So parallel is appropriate here because speed matters. Half duplex still allows uploading and downloading of data, just not at the same time. And that's actually quite appropriate in this scenario. The distance is short, so skew isn't an issue. So altogether, that makes parallel half duplex a really suitable and appropriate transmission method. To score full marks in this question, you need 4 clean points. For example, same parallel is fast, but doesn't need both directions. That's only 1 mark, because the second part isn't linked to half duplex. Don't merge points together. If you want to level up this topic properly, watch my upcoming videos on network latency and bandwidth, because they fit perfectly with this data transmission topic. If you want expert written revision notes, topic questions, flashcards, and AI smart marking, then visit savemyexams.com.